The ballroom was thick with tension, the kind that made even the chandeliers seem to tremble with anticipation. Journalists scribbled furiously, cameras flashed without pause, and every guest at the White House Correspondents' Dinner knew they were about to witness something historic. It was 2011, and although the event was supposed to be lighthearted, the atmosphere felt anything but. At the head of the long table, Barack Obama sat calmly, sipping his water, his expression one of practiced ease. Yet his sharp eyes darted across the crowd until they landed on the man who had become an unexpected thorn in his side, Donald Trump. Trump sat at another table, his golden hair catching the light, his lips curled into the faintest smirk. For weeks, Trump had been hammering Obama in the press, fueling the birther conspiracy and demanding proof of the president's birthplace. What had started as a fringe theory had become national spectacle. And though Obama had released his long-form birth certificate just days before, Trump wasn't done. He had paraded through the media with a swagger, declaring himself the man who forced the president's hand. To many, Trump was a joke, a reality TV host, a real estate mogul who basked in attention. But to Obama, Trump represented something dangerous, the normalization of a rhetoric that thrived on insult, suspicion, and spectacle. Tonight, the two men would face each other in the same room for the first time since the controversy had exploded. When the MC introduced the president, the applause thundered. Obama rose, adjusting his tuxedo, and walked to the podium. His face was serious for a moment, then broke into the easy smile that had carried him through campaigns, debates, and crises alike. "Good evening, everybody," he began, his voice smooth, steady. "It is wonderful to be here tonight at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. I am glad to be among so many distinguished members of the press, celebrities, politicians, and, of course, Donald Trump." A ripple of laughter swept through the room, but Obama didn't laugh. His eyes flickered to Trump, holding his gaze for just a second too long. Trump's smirk tightened. Obama continued, weaving through a series of jokes, each sharper than the last, all directed toward Trump. He teased his reality show, The Apprentice, mocked his ambitions for the presidency, and even flashed a mock trailer for a fake movie where Trump played himself as commander-in-chief. The audience roared. The cameras caught every flicker of Trump's tightening jaw, every twitch of irritation. But beneath the humor, there was steel. Obama wasn't just mocking him, he was disarming him, pulling back the curtain to reveal that the man who loved to ridicule others was now the butt of the joke. Finally, Obama paused. The laughter subsided. The room leaned in. The president straightened, resting both hands on the podium, his smile fading into something sharper, something unmistakably deliberate. "You know," Obama said, his voice quieter now, almost conversational, "Donald Trump has been saying a lot about me lately. A lot about where I was born, about whether I belong here. And I suppose everyone's entitled to their opinions. But here's the thing." He stopped. The silence was absolute. Trump's eyes narrowed. Obama's tone shifted, cool and unyielding. "I'm standing here tonight as President of the United States. And no matter what's said, no matter who doubts me, that's something no conspiracy, no insult, and no reality TV catchphrase can ever take away." The words landed like thunder. Not loud, not shouted, but final. The applause erupted, the room shaking with approval. Obama gave a small, almost imperceptible nod, then leaned back, letting the cheers roll over him. Trump, however, didn't clap. His lips pressed into a thin line, his jaw tight. Cameras zoomed in on his face, capturing the rare image of a man who suddenly looked less like a showman and more like someone who'd been publicly cornered. That one sentence, "I'm standing here tonight as President of the United States," cut deeper than any joke. It was a reminder, to Trump and to everyone watching, that whatever noise swirled in the tabloids, Obama's legitimacy was unquestionable. He didn't need to shout. His very presence, his very role, was proof enough. The rest of the evening moved on, but the moment lingered. Even as the journalists scribbled their witty reviews, even as celebrities mingled over champagne, those who had seen Trump's expression knew something had shifted. For Obama, it was just another night, another sparring match handled with wit and grace. But for Trump, it was a wound, a public humiliation broadcast across the country. Later, in private, aides asked Obama if he thought Trump would fade after that. Obama smiled faintly, the way a chess player smiles when he sees a game unfolding 10 moves ahead. "Men like him don't fade," Obama said quietly. They plot. And plot Trump did. In the days following the dinner, he remained outwardly calm, brushing off questions about the jokes. But those who knew him best saw the fire behind his eyes. For Trump, mockery was unforgivable. Public humiliation was a sin that demanded retribution. Over the next years, Trump stoked his following. The birther conspiracy may have fizzled, but the seeds had been planted, seeds of doubt, distrust, and outrage. He shifted his rhetoric to broader targets: immigrants, political elites, the very institutions of government. The showman had found his stage, and he was determined to play the leading role. Meanwhile, Obama moved forward with the steady composure that had defined his presidency. He rarely mentioned Trump again, not in speeches, not in interviews. To him, the dinner had settled it. One sentence had drawn the line. But he underestimated the depth of Trump's grudge, and the audience he had tapped into. By 2015, Trump descended the golden escalator at Trump Tower to announce his candidacy for president. Many laughed, just as they had at the Correspondents' Dinner. But this time, Trump was no punchline. He was tapping into anger that few had dared to exploit so openly. As the campaign raged on, reporters replayed the old footage from 2011. Clips of Obama roasting Trump circulated endlessly, with commentators calling it the night that set Trump on his path. Some argued that Trump's entire run was, in part, an attempt to erase that humiliation, to prove wrong the man who had dismissed him so publicly. In the end, Trump would take the White House, shocking the world, shocking even himself. But even as he stood at the podium on Inauguration Day, hand raised to swear the oath, there were whispers that his campaign was born not just of ambition, but of vengeance. And so, that one sentence Obama had delivered in a room full of journalists and celebrities rippled far beyond the dinner. It was a declaration, a challenge, and, ironically, the spark that may have lit a fire in the man who would one day take his place. Yet history has a strange way of twisting itself. Years later, as analysts debated the rivalry between the two men, many returned to that night. They replayed Obama's calm, confident words. They studied Trump's tightened jaw. They asked themselves whether history might have unfolded differently if Obama had chosen not to strike so hard, or if Trump had been able to laugh it off. But the truth is simpler. That single sentence was not meant as provocation. It was meant as closure. Obama wasn't trying to ignite Trump's ambitions, he was trying to end them. With one sentence, he reminded the world, and Trump himself, of the undeniable fact: he was president, and Trump was not. What no one could have predicted was that, for Trump, that moment was not closure. It was the opening move in a new game, one that would reshape American politics for years to come. And perhaps that's the paradox of history. Sometimes the words meant to silence an opponent become the very echo that drives them louder. But for those in that ballroom, on that night, the memory remains clear. Barack Obama, standing tall at the podium, delivering one calm, devastating sentence that seemed to settle everything. And Donald Trump, sitting in silence, his smirk gone, his mind already turning. The sentence itself faded into the archives of speeches and dinners. But its impact, that lived on, far beyond the chandeliers and laughter, far beyond the applause. It became part of a story larger than either man alone, the story of pride, rivalry, and the unpredictable consequences of a single moment in time.